Howdy do, working on Marduk's new leg. You can see I've got it installed, and you can hear the birds are very annoyed at the snow on the ground. But we'll try to ignore them. What do they know? Here we go. You can see now in the light, Marduk's leg has a bit more structure to it, as opposed to this big, messy, janky portion. That's just a bunch of wood cobbled together and hoping not to break. I mean, look at all those cross braces and stuff. That looks a lot cleaner, don't you think? I painted it with some Rust-Oleum out of a can, so it should be a little more water resistant when I've actually finished painting it and put the last few screws in, but it is currently supporting Marduk's weight surprisingly well. It does look a little crooked, so maybe I'll try to do some fine adjustments, but it's looking okay. I mean, it's all about really how that thing goes on there, how the shin goes on, and it gives the impression of having a wider leg base or whatever. I haven't hooked up the linear actuator, just because I've been feeling kind of lazy, but it should have enough clearance down here and connect up to the frame, and hopefully won't have to worry about overextending like I have been previously, especially with that leg. So ironically, I replaced the leg that didn't need fixing first, so whoops. But it's looking a little better. I mean, the leg's a little thicker in the back, so it maybe kind of destroys the illusion of the legs being separate from the motor chassis, but they still technically are, so I guess it's okay. So the only thing I'm going to be doing today after this is probably just putting the casing there back on, which I'll do it in a moment. There we go. Look at that. It's on there nice and straight-ish. It's going to give her a bit of a less of a splay-legged look, but I know that might be a good thing. It'll make her look more like a walker maybe than a roller, but I know, maybe still have to rotate a little bit like that, you know, just to make it so it doesn't look so unbalanced, but she's fairly balanced. I mean, you've seen me driving her around, so hopefully this will not change much of the dynamic, and in fact make her easier to drive around, because hopefully less of a tendency for things to fall apart due to moisture. There's still like some seams you can see where there's like bare wood and stuff, but I'm planning to get some like spray paint or something and paint in there, or wrap it with like fiberglass or something to make it a nice watertight seal, and hopefully cut back on the tendency of pull out. But her leg looks a little straighter, and I guess the next thing I'll do is this leg. Poof, it's 5 in the afternoon, and we've got now the right leg on. It's looking okay, you know, there's nothing sporting the mech underneath. There's no of that sawhorse or jack or anything. It's now standing on her own 2 wheels, and it's looking pretty good, I think. There's a bit of a kooky angle going on, at least with this strut here, but with this beam it's actually quite flush, so that hopefully won't present any problems. I did have to do some goofing around with the mounting machine screws for the caster, because the ones I got are too long and they would go down and keep the caster from rotating properly, so I just have a extra nut on top to give it a little more tension, a little bit more of an offset. Keep that machine screw from getting in the way of the rotating bits underneath. I still have to, you know, properly position the linear actuators, but that's something easy to do when I'm feeling a little lazy about that. So I'll be back in a second when I've put the shin panel back on. There we go, shin paneling on. It's not exactly perfect, but I can fine-tune the positioning of it afterwards. Maybe bring this one a little further forward, tip the bottom a little further out. But otherwise, everything is just about good to go, I guess, except for the connecting the linear actuators up to their frame all nice and proper. But I think I'm going to wait on that because I got a new can of Rust-Oleum paint because I ended up running out. Just barely had enough to cover the legs. So I think I'm going to put a second coat on there to make sure that it stays all nice and watertight. Here we have the right leg. Look at how pockmarked it is with all these like screw holes and all that sort of stuff. So let's go put it with the other leg, shall we? And let's just marvel at how janky these things are. Yeah. Look at that mess. I mean, they have served me well. Up here was where the leg connected into the mech's torso. And down here is where the caster was. And these bits right here kept pulling out. Which is why I did this upgrade. And this one is similar, just with a few less janky wooden bits on it. But it is pretty hilarious to see how actually fragile these parts are when they're not on the mech. But now, got some better parts, less fragile, more sturdy, and hopefully more waterproof once I put a second coat of paint on. And that will be all for today, I guess. So if you do enjoy my content, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you do know people who like giant robots, why not share this with them? Maybe they'll enjoy it too. So, kick your mech's old legs today. Bye-bye.